we all know about actually not that many maybe don't know about the cruel aerial cull in the Kosciuszko National Park to get rid of those terrible, terrible brumbies. They're just terrible, but it's an absolute disaster. It's cruel to say the least, and in my opinion, it's based on false information, misleading information. So, but we'll talk about that very shortly with our guest. I was at work yesterday going through some of the news feeds, came across this song. Somebody has penned this song in relation to this cruel cull of these magnificent creatures. Let me play this for you. It's a very beautiful song, and I love the lyrics.
Tell my fool I kept on running. Tell my mare I heard her cry. Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said goodbye. Brumby hoofprints etched for generations in the snow. I've watched the foals become the mares, the stallions old and slow. Here in the snowy mountains where my life began, across hills, ridges and open plains my fellow Brumbies ran. I've led them through winter storms, drought and summer rain, but I can't outrun what follows now, shield my family from this pain. My ancestors crossed the oceans, but I was born upon this land. These mountains are my birthplace, the Snowies are my clan. These mountains hold our memories, our family history. If home is where you're raised, then this is where we should be. Tell my foal I kept on running. Tell my mare I heard her cry. Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said goodbye. Stay close beside me, little one. The thunder isn't rain, the sky itself is hunting us, and I cannot stop the pain. I gather those I love and turn to face the sound. Though every instinct tells me run, there's nowhere left for us now. These mountains hold our memories, our family history. If home is where you're raised, then this is where we should be. I fall upon the ground, thunder again and again. My heart grows quiet as bullets rain. I thought I had more seasons, more rivers left to roam, more sunrises with my Kosciuszko clan before the mountains called me home. Tell them I was born here, my grandfathers fought their wars. Remind them that this was our home, the snowy mountains were ours. Tell my folk I knew her Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said goodbye.
And back again. Now there's a cruel aerial cull occurring in the Kosciuszko National Park. As, you know, I said I would not listen to the lyrics, and I did. Let's just get into it. Our guest today is going to talk about this cruel aerial cull as part of a plan to drastically reduce the park's Brumby population. Now, it's a terrible look for the Australian national character, and shall I say, the politicians and the so-called environmental and animal welfare groups that support it. The Brumby Action Group is a not-for-profit association for some 25,000 members, and one, because I'm going to join, whose purpose is the preservation and conservation of wild living brumbies, their habitat and ecosystems, acknowledging the heritage value of these magnificent animals. Thanks for joining us. And we're just going to go to this one here. That's even better. Sarah Michaels, those lyrics, when I downloaded it yesterday to play today, I said, I'm not going to listen to the lyrics. It's a disgrace, isn't it?
It absolutely is, Mike. You're right. And I would have prepared myself with some tissues had I have known that you were going to play that song. But unfortunately, it certainly is the reality of what we're facing in the mountains at the moment.
I mean, okay, let's cut to the chase. They say they're doing it for environmental reasons. You know, and I know that's just absolute crap. So what is, in your humble opinion, what is the real reason for the senseless murder and torture of these magnificent animals that are much a part of Australia as any of us are?
Yeah, you're right, Mike. They absolutely are. And this debate about the snowy brumbies has become incredibly polarised over recent years. But at the heart of it, it's about transparency, accountability, and evidence. Australians are repeatedly told that aerial shooting and large-scale removals of our brumbies are justified by science, yet many of the figures and decisions being relied upon by government and their supporters, they raise serious questions and concerns. Many of us feel that there's been very little appetite from the New South Wales government, in particular Minister Penny Sharp, to genuinely engage with those seeking a balanced solution. There's growing concern within the local community and within Australia and abroad about the influence advocacy organisations may actually have over government policy, including questions about the role of the Invasive Species Council in shaping these decisions. Australians deserve confidence that public policy is being driven by transparent evidence and independent decision-making and not ideology.
Tell us about the heritage of the Brumbies in this location.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes without saying that they're iconic in Australia. They're part of our national heritage. They deserve humane, evidence-based management. They've lived in the Australian Alps for more than 150 years. They've become part of the cultural identity of the high country and part of the Australian fabric. They feature in Australian folklore, literature, local history, and many people see them as enduring symbol of resilience and freedom.
I saw a clip the other day, and someone was walking through the Kosciuszko National Park, and it showed you some of the grass that had been pulled out, and it was attributed to, I think, pigs.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me, can the bureaucrats who are pushing this, with Chris Minns waving the flag, to save the planet. Can you tell me if they could tell the difference between a pig and a horse? And if not, should they ever go to the Melbourne Cup again?
Well, it's a fair question, Mike. Yeah, you absolutely can. I mean, I'm a landholder and I have horses. We also have a lot of wild pigs around my property. You know, when I'm walking in the morning and I see a horse dog, that's certainly not attributed to horses. You can unequivocally say that, wild pigs have been in and they've done that damage. For many people who frequent the parks, a lot of the damage that we see is from feral pigs. Deer are prolific around the area at the moment, and I don't even need to mention the explosion in kangaroo numbers. It's out of control. Yet they seem not wanting to turn their mind to the damage that other species are doing. Unfortunately, our brumbies have become the scapegoat.
What needs to be done? Okay, they're saying, and the figures are wrong, so but they keep quoting these horrendous figures.
Yeah.
What needs to be done to control? We'll pick on the brumbies if they need controlling at all, but you don't need to shoot them and let them die in a slow, torturous death. What could we be doing?
Absolutely. I think anybody with half a conscience will agree that the aerial culling is barbaric. As we've stated, there are many issues where there's been lack of transparency. Many advocates believe that the cull needs to stop forthwith while some of these issues are properly examined. There's a strong argument that the future management of snowy brumbies should receive greater Commonwealth oversight, recognising both their national heritage value and the need for transparent, accountable governance. First and foremost, there needs to be an accurate count of just how many brumbies are in the park. It's impossible for the recent numbers of over 20,000 that's being stated by the Minister's office. It's biologically impossible, and quite frankly, it makes them look ridiculous. And if people aren't questioning that, they need to be questioning that more.
There's a group called the RSPCA who I do know things about the RSPCA that I'm not going to tell, but it's amazing what good propaganda does for you. The RSPCA supports professionally managed aerial culling in the park. What do you say to that?
I say it's outrageous. I say that people should look into the enormous donation that New South Wales RSPCA received leading into one of the earlier culls. I think it was the November 2023, thereabouts. This is where we're very concerned about the issue of transparency. Reports, primary aerial survey recordings were not retained. Changes to the operational procedures, the standard operational procedures are not being followed, Mike. That's a concern, and there's been difficulties obtaining records through information requests. All of this has contributed to declining public confidence. Governments supported by the likes of RSPCA, Invasive Species Council, if governments say that they're following the science, then the underlying evidence and decision-making processes should be capable of independent scrutiny, including, the likes of the RSPCA and ISC. Transparency builds trust where secrecy undermines it, and that's the climate that we're finding ourselves in at the moment.
And if you go back a few years, regardless of what people think, the transparency and the trust was highly eroded during COVID, and then the transparency about the same time. So when government says we're going to do something, no matter what you present or say, let's have a conversation about this and come to a better determination, they are not interested at all. And I'm sounding quite very much like an activist. I'm not. It's just a fact. Let's talk about the Greens now. I think the Greens should rename themselves as the the hypocritical party, because they are liars and they are hypocrites. And you look at the National Environment Protection Authority, which was set up with the government along with the Greens. And if you look at what's happening at the Great Dividing Range, at the erasing of the top of the range to put in windmills, and then either side, by the way, of those 400 metres either side, there is nothing can live there because of the high frequency noise and stuff like that. We've just lost Sarah, but we'll get Sarah back in a second, because it happens sometimes. We just connect. So I'll keep talking about that until Sarah comes back. But we do have an issue on the Great Dividing Range, because either side of the Great Dividing Range is 400 metres, and 400 metres is a real problem. Sarah is now back, because what happens is that the animals, including the koalas and stuff, can't live there. Birds can't fly there because they fly into them. And it was told that under the National Environment Protection Authority that there were also reports of koalas, and I believe they are true, being whacked on the back of the head, suggested by some of the developers. So the Greens are, Sarah, are very hypocritical. They want up to a 90% reduction of the Brumbies. Now, this would seem odd for a party, one of the party leaders, Bob Brown or Christine Milne, would have to be absolutely distraught and full of despair to see what's happened to their party.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. They've certainly changed over the years from when they were, from their inception and what they once stood for. I think the term that you used, hypocrisy with the Greens, it's absolutely accurate. And one of the things that we find in this space when advocating for our Brumbies is the sheer hypocrisy around Melbourne Cup. You see all the greenies out there with their, "Nup to the cup" slogans getting around. And when you question them, how does this differ from what they're doing to the Brumbies? Instead of engaging in a realistic, fact-driven conversation, we're often met with, abuse, with slander, with criticism. And we're generally finding that that's the rhetoric from the Greens, is if they can't get you to accept their way of thinking and they can't push it down your throats, then they just become abusive. And we see a lot of division in this space, and it's really sad. Our Brumbies deserve so much better.
We have to look after animals. As simple as that. Animals rely on us to look after them. Even though the Brumbies are wild, we need to look after them to make sure that this senseless culling does not happen. It is cruel. It is not how Australians should act, or how any humans should act. And I think it's gaining attention around the world, and it's showing our governments for what they are. They are cruel, senseless bastards. And I think they are. It's abhorrent, to say the least. What about the animal welfare groups and wildlife advocates? I've seen a couple pop up, but I haven't seen a whole lot. Where are they?
Crickets, Mike, really? Yeah.
In name only.
Yeah,
It's just terrible.
it
Um,
is.
Can you tell me, because we have a great political divide, which politicians have condemned this, or are they doing the ostrich dance and putting their head in the sand?
Yeah, we were actually quite pleased to see Angus Taylor attend the gathering on Saturday at Kyandra. So I do want to acknowledge Mr. Taylor. Thank you for taking the time. Your willingness to listen is appreciated, and I do sincerely hope that his recent involvement translates into meaningful action and tangible improvements. I really, really have to thank Wes Fang and Emma Hurst, who have been enormous drivers of the Brumby plight over the years. I've watched some of the videos from when Wes has challenged Minister Sharp, during questioning time, and they just refuse to resile from their position, notwithstanding that the evidence is quite clear that what they are doing is simply inhumane. Rachel Merton and Nicole Overall have also, shown their support to the cause. But, in the greater picture of things, there are only a small few names in an enormous parliament. So it is quite disappointing, particularly when members of parliament are out there, like I said before, saying not to the cut, but they'll gladly watch these beautiful animals. One of them 15 minutes in the name of ideology. It's outrageous.
What about other parts of Australia? Are the Brumbies under attack there, or will they be under attack shortly?
So I mean, this goes to all parts of Australia. I can't really speak to other states, given that I'm a New South Wales resident. I know Victoria, they had an enormous cull. If you go back to the high country in Victoria, you'd be lucky to see a Brumby now. It's really quite sad.
It's extremely un-Australian, and
Absolutely.
we'll get hate mail, of course. We brought up the fire ant issue a while back, and someone sitting in one of the offices in Brisbane would write to us and say that we're a bunch of cookers. And I'm wondering which part of that applies to the removal of human rights, in particular with farming. Do you think rural, maybe regional, but rural and outback Australia is under attack by government?
Yeah, there's no doubt, Mike. And many of us believe that the eradication of our Brumbies is about a much bigger picture, and it goes to eradicating our history and our culture.
How can we help?
So jump on board, come over to our page, link in with other advocates, and certainly, contact your local members of parliament, let them know that this is abhorrent. Also advocate for transparency. We're not seeing transparency from Minister Sharp's office. That's vital. Most importantly, encourage constructive dialogue rather than division, and just jump on board, share our plight. We're seeing an enormous difference this time around in comparison to 2023 campaign. It's a slow wheel, Mike, but it does turn.
Yep, it's very sad, and it's very hard not to become emotional. And they say, "Oh, well, you're all too emotional." How can you not be emotional?
Well, that's exactly right. And if people want to call us emotional because our hearts are breaking at watching these magnificent creatures, that are woven into our fabric, fall down and hit the ground, and knowing that they're full, is there wondering when its mother's going to stand up. If that doesn't move you, I don't know what then.
It's absolutely terrible. Sarah Michaels from the Brumby Action Group, and just lover of Australian and lover of all things good. Thank you so much for your time. We do need to take stock, and we need to get back our humanness, don't we? We need to become. What's happened to us? I'm going on a bit here, but it's very emotional. We'll probably get told off again. But what's happened? What's happened to us?
Yeah, what has? That's the question, isn't it? Because I think that question applies to so many things that we're seeing affected to our Australian culture, and it's just terrible, Mike. It really is.
It's terrible. Sarah, thank you so much for your time. We will do this more. I think we do need to get back our being Australian again,
Yes,
having each other's back, because we do not have anybody's back at the moment. And
no, that's right.
we have to look after what is quintessential Australiana, and that's the Brumbies. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for your time.
The Country Telegraph.
They rode with a man from Snowy River. Now they're running for their lives. Tell me how a nation built on freedom lets its wild Brumbies die. What we are doing to the Brumbies is a fucking national disgrace.
still on the plain.
The ghosts of stockmen ride these hills
Through wind and dust and rain.
Old banjo rode a mountain man,
And horses wild and free,
racing through the snowy high country
for all eternity.
Their story built a nation,
Their spirit still lives on,
but the country that once loved them
acts like they don't belong.
now the sound above the ridge line ain't a stock whip anymore. It's the rotors of a helicopter
Bringing death across the moor.
The mountain winds are asking,
What the hell have we become?
when the sound above the tree line
Makes the wild horses run.
it's the Brumby's last run, the last run down the range,
While the people shake their heads
and wonder when things changed.
They rode with the man from Snowy River.
They carry legends through the years,
Now we're shooting down our heritage.
while politicians turn their ears. It's the Brumby's last run.
Australia's got to choose.
'Cause every horse that falls up there
Is another piece we lose.
from Kosciuszko to the valleys,
Through every drought and flood,
the spirit of the Brumbies.
still runs deep within our blood.
You can call it management,
You can quote another report,
but there's
something in these mountains that no paperwork can sort.
they're woven through our history,
They're stitched into our song.
and a lot of ordinary Aussies
Think this whole thing's gone wrong,
the old stockmen are gone now,
but their spirit still remains
and every wild horse running
across those mountain plains.
it's the Brumby's last run, the last run down the range,
While the people shake their heads
and wonder when things changed.
They rode with the man from Snowy River.
They carried legends through the years,
Now we're shooting down our heritage.
while politicians turn their ears.
It's the Brumby's last run. Australia's got to choose.
'Cause every horse that falls up there
Is another piece we lose.
what happened to the country?
That stood up for its own.
What happened to the spirit?
That built a nation strong.
You can't rewrite history,
You can't silence every song.
you can't tell a generation
Those mountain legends all were wrong. Some things are worth saving. Some things are worth the fight. And freedom still looks beautiful, running through the morning light.
hear the thunder in the distance,
Hear the wild ones call
hear the mountains crying out.
before the silence falls. It's the Brumby's last run.
But it doesn't have to be
If enough of us stand up,
for what these mountains mean.
they rode with the man from Snowy River.
Across the ridges running free,
And if we lose the wild Brumbies,
what else will
cease to be. It's the Brumby's last run, and history's keeping score.
leave the Brumbies to the mountains?
Let them run forevermore.
From the Snowy River country
To the plains beneath the sky,
the horses of 1,000
never meant to die. No, they were never meant to die.